Welcome to today, Not Your Status Quo review of Luke Cage Season 2 on Netflix. And remember, if you like what you see here, click the little bell so you get notified when we make new content. And of course, subscribe to our channel. Anything to add to that, sir?
Yeah, maybe hit the thumbs up if you like what you see.
Yeah, I agree.
We would definitely appreciate it.
Yo, I'm Luke Cage.
Performances in Luke Cage Season 2. Mustafa Shakir, I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, as Bushmaster was by far the best performance in this season.
Excellent.
I mean, he nailed everything. He was seemingly vulnerable while strong at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he just absolutely killed it. I'm so glad, since this is a spoiler-filled review, that he's not dead. We may see him again, and I'm very hopeful we'll see him in Season 3.
A lot of depth to his character. You could really, feel where he was coming from. Great acting job. We'll get into more into the plot about that character, but nice job.
And Mike Coulter as Luke Cage was great. I thought he really handled it well.
I don't think anybody else could play Luke Cage. He's perfect for that role.
I agree.
Yeah.
If he's done playing it, they should stop filming. Ever.
Exactly.
And then, Simone as Misty Knight, I really dug her. I thought she did good. I'm really hoping that some of the stuff that happens, we either see a Heroes for Hire series where they get Danny, Luke, Misty, and Colleen all together, or even just the Daughters of the Dragon where we get Misty and Colleen together. Either way, I thought she did good this season. I definitely am looking forward to seeing her in Iron Fist Season 2.
Luke Cage is nothing but a man.
Alim?
It's mine.
The plot for Season 2, I loved the Bushmaster part of it. Excellent. He comes in like, just a formidable foe. He's got, the bullet repelling powers. We learn how.
Not as bulletproof as Luke Cage, but he definitely can get shot and survive.
Yeah, and he's we learned about how that happens during the season. This is a spoiler-filled review. The Mariah Shades thing, really uncomfortable. I didn't like it. I didn't think it fit. I thought it felt forced. Every scene, it seemed like they were trying to get them to make out, and it was just really uncomfortable to watch. I didn't like it.
And you said something before this when we were talking about it, I think really hits home. It looked like as actors they didn't want to do it. It was very tough to watch. And I think it's funny because Season 1 of Luke Cage was awesome with Cottonmouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he died, it kind of slowed down a lot, and the whole Diamondback thing was not interesting or that good. And this season, the first 5 or 6 episodes were so slow, so hard. That first episode was tough getting through.
Mm-hmm.
It was so slow, so dragged, so much Mariah and Shades. But then it really picked up. I think they got, out of the 2 seasons, they've got one great season of Luke Cage.
Mm-hmm. With two villains.
Yes. Yeah.
And like I was saying about Mustafa as Bushmaster, they did is what I actually said there. I didn't stutter. They did a flashback to him when he was younger, explaining his backstory, which was great. They should have moved that up in the season. I think that came up in episode 8 or something. And if they had made that the main story earlier, and it showed why he's doing what he's doing, I think that would have been awesome. But you didn't get that until later. It's like they just thought of it later and said, "Oh, we should do this," And
I think they were trying so hard to set up the convoluted storyline with Mariah and Shades selling the guns and then them getting the club and everything. A lot of it was very unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot of good stuff they could have worked with, and they focused on stuff that really didn't work to start the season.
They could have explained some of that stuff in like 2 or 3 scenes, and they took 3 or 4 episodes to do it. Yeah.
And I hate to say that at the end of this season, Tilda Johnson, who was Mariah's daughter, killed her in prison with like a poison sort of lipstick. Yeah. Basically, for those of you who know who Tilda Johnson is in the comics, she's Nightshade.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping this sets up Season 3. If we do get a Season 3, please Netflix, we'd like to see a Season 3.
Let's see if they can build on it.
Turn into full-blown Nightshade, where in the comics she could create werewolves with a serum, and she could also control them with a pheromone that she kind of exuded, if that's a right word. And I think that would make a really cool change of pace for Season 3, because with him kind of getting the club from Mariah and the will and trying to keep peace in the
And all the gangs coming there and like looking up to him like he's the new kingpin of Harlem.
Yeah.
You know.
And maybe it could lead to some interesting things, you know, him trying to keep peace and do things, but him allowing drug running and other things to go on just to keep the peace doesn't seem like Luke Cage. I would rather see him try to stop it all and maybe be, you know, overwhelmed with all of these things than him like sitting on top as the king. So maybe that's just a tease we won't see fleshed out in season 3, but
well, some other things I didn't like. When I don't want to just focus on what I didn't like. When Tilda came into the show, I thought she was a nice, innocent person, and it was really anticlimactic to me to have her be the one, and the way she killed Mariah, it was just like, it was a build up to, oh, that's it, you know. And I never get this like, oh, I got it on my lipstick, so it's going to change you. They did the Smallville too. It didn't affect the person wearing the lipstick, but the person that they kissed or whatever, it affected them.
Well, she could have created the antidote for it.
And put it on her lips first?
Yeah.
Well, you know,
taking the antidote, put it on her lips, and then she knew she was safe.
That's a possibility. But to me, it really should have been Bushmaster that ended it. You know, it really just kind of like, why did you build him up so much just to send him back to Jamaica?
Well, and they may be, you know, looking down the road with that, with him not being the one that killed Mariah Stokes, not Dillard, Stokes.
Yeah.
It might push him over the edge a little bit. He hasn't fulfilled what he wanted to do. And even though him and Luke kind of teamed up at the end of the season to fight, maybe this is going to be the thing that sets him off. And if he does return in season 3, not being the one, maybe he's going to go up against Tilda.
He's going to stick in his craw. Well, she was the one who gave him the medicine in order to make him better after he got injured.
No, true, but she killed Mariah Stokes too.
And that may,
it took that away from him. Exactly.
That's right, yeah.
You can get a smack for this.
Really, guys?
You gotta know we tried, man.
I ain't no joke.
Other items of note from Luke Cage season 2. You know, I liked all of the shirts that DW was selling out of Pop's barbershop. You know, there was a Power Man shirt. They've called him that a couple times.
I wonder if you can buy those. I'm sure they're going to market those.
Oh, we should check. I would buy a Power Man shirt. That was pretty cool. Then he had another shirt that said Luke Cage and the Run DMC logo. And then in episode 10 with Danny, you see him wearing a Sweet X-Mix hoodie. And that was kind of nice. I like seeing all those. You know, and speaking of shirts, at one point in the season, DW was wearing a Hell Up in Harlem shirt. Kind of, it had Luke versus Diamondback on it. But that was actually a movie in the 70s starring Fred Williamson. And it was basically about a hero going up against corrupt politicians. I thought that was kind of funny. It was kind of cute they, you know, worked that in there because Luke Cage has kind of been about him going up against corrupt politicians and, you know, gang members and stuff. I loved in the episode when he was protecting Piranha, when he basically referred to, you know, him as a hero for hire, because I really loved the hero for hire in the comics. I would love to see, you know, they're probably not going to make another Defenders series. They might if it gets popular enough and there's a good story for it.
Yeah, the way the writing is going now, I'd probably have to say no. You know, but,
I agree. You know, I would love to see Danny and Luke team up for a whole season and have it hero for hire. We could have, you know, Misty Knight and Colleen both in it like they are in the comics. I would love to see that. You know, and once again, we've talked about this a lot of times. These don't need to be 13 episodes. If they're 8 episodes,
and
like
good,
Defenders, and they're good, all the more for it. Now, if you're going to make a, you know, Daredevil, Punisher have both had excellent 13-episode seasons. If you got that, do it. If you have the story for it and you have it, don't add the filler episodes. We don't need that.
Right. That's the exact reason you watch Netflix, so you don't get the filler episodes, you know? Another thing that you just mentioned there, I got to interject. That episode with Iron Fist in it, that was very refreshing. I think it was episode 10 that he came in. He was only in there for one episode, but it was a shot in the arm. I think it needed at that exact moment.
And it was great because Danny was more of Danny Rand, more of Iron Fist in this than he was at all in Defenders or, you know, his first season. He was confident. You know, he had this sort of chill to him, and it was great. And it really gets me a little excited for Iron Fist season 2. I know that they are saying it's less episodes, and actually, you know, SDCC is going on right now. And hopefully we'll get a trailer for that, we'll see. And I hope it gets better because I love Iron Fist, and season 1 was an absolute disappointment.
And they have a new showrunner for that show, too, right?
Yeah, so. Scott Buck, who made The Inhumans and Iron Fist season 1, if he never makes another Marvel or DC show again, I will be excited, because Inhumans was terrible and Iron Fist season 1 was bad. You know, one more thing that they kind of set up at the end of the season a little bit was, you know, Misty telling Luke that, you know, she's not afraid to take him down. He's like, you got to do what you got to do, or I hope you will.
Yeah.
And we might see Misty against Luke. Yeah, I'm counting on it. I hope we might see Misty versus Luke a little bit. That'd be a nice dynamic that could work out. And then at the end, we also see where is it Sugar?
Yeah, Shug.
Shug basically says, hey, you know, Claire's down there, and he said, you can tell her to leave or whatever.
Yeah.
Which
I agree with.
Think, I think Claire Temple has had a run on the shows.
Yeah.
We don't need to see her anymore. And even Rosario Dawson, who is awesome. She's amazing. Even she said, I think Claire Temple is done. So
yeah, I mean,
she's ready for it. I think everyone watching these shows is ready for it. So we appreciate what you did, Rosario. But
the character in what she last 4 or 5 shows in this season, it was just seemed like they threw her in there just to be the typical girlfriend who can't deal with the superhero. I mean, and then she was just pushing and pushing for him to reunite with his dad, who he had a real problem with. Well, they got through it by the end of the season. It would have been more organic without her there, but it seemed like every other character, like Piranha, when he was protecting him, he was pushing that too, and he only knew him for a night. So I don't know why they were pushing that so hard. Maybe if they just let it happen, you know, have his dad be the one forcing his way back into his life, and then Luke realizing, well, I really need this, rather than every other character saying, man, you got to talk to your dad. You know, I didn't like that part, but I did like it when Claire left, because it was just like, we don't need this character anymore. And, you know, it's been said.
Who says you're not my sidekick?
Me? It's my show.